Welcome to the Old Souls and Seekers podcast, a podcast that transcends the typical personal development journey. You're not new to this. You've read the books, attended the seminars, and perhaps even tried various coaching programs, yet something still feels amiss. Elon and Guy have over 2 decades of relentless searching and $1 million invested in their personal growth quest. Here's the revelation. You're not missing anything. You're not even behind. You might have just been searching in the wrong places. In each episode, we'll uncover the most effective, straightforward practices that have profoundly impacted our lives and the tens of thousands of our clients from all over the world. This is about real, sustainable results for those dedicated to their personal and spiritual growth. So get ready to explore and enjoy the show.
And as you bring that awareness kind of to the spaciousness around your head, just see the impact of that, even just moving the awareness away from behind the eyes and moving it more around the head. You might even feel your nervous system begin to drop. Maybe you take a quick sigh, a breath, and just kind of relax the body. And then from that spaciousness, from the space, starting to notice the body. And so as you do that, noticing the body is very different than trying to change what you notice about the body. So maybe you notice tension in a certain part of the body. It could be the most subtle of tensions, doesn't have to be a big thing. Maybe around the heart or around the belly. And again, you're not looking necessarily to change anything. You're just looking to witness what's there. So the invitation is to witness, not to change. Not to bring pressure, not to bring power or performance, just to bring presence. And so get curious about what changes when we bring presence instead of pressure. Another curiosity you might have is like, what is here now when there are no problems to solve? So what's here now when there are no problems to solve? So if you're just joining, we're just doing a very quick check-in with ourselves, finding some spaciousness around the head and getting present with the body. So again, see if you can unhook your awareness from behind the eyes and bringing it to the space around the head. Soften the eyes, soften your jaw. And then turning the gaze towards the body in the center channel. And you're looking for any place where you might feel some tightness in the heart, in the solar plexus, the throat, the belly, even if it's very, very subtle. And we're just exploring what it's like to feel our body without the pressure to change the experience, without trying to overpower or empower ourselves, but just no power, no pressure, just presence. What's here now? So just check that out for another 30 seconds. And then take 2 deep breaths, grounding breaths. On the exhale, bring your awareness towards your feet. Or you can, if you're sitting in a chair or couch, you could also bring it towards your butt and just noticing that you're sitting on something, that it's supporting you. And maybe just releasing your body a little bit more into that support too. Like actually notice that there is support. Okay. And then when you're ready, you could blink your eyes open. And just say hello to some more people here. I saw Haley come in and Angela come in. I saw Ingrid come in. Ian, what's going on, buddy? I see Joanna over there and Jody. A few more people are still popping in here. So take just a super brief moment. Feel free to unmute yourself and just say hi, just so your voice is heard in here. If you're welcome to do that.
I'm
Hey,
happy to be here.
Hey, you're right.
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, great to see you all.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
All right, beautiful. Sorry, 1 second to make Sarah. And I just want to let you know, so obviously, yeah, I'm here. Elon's here. And then you're also going to see Sarah Boudere in there. Sarah, can you just wave your hand real quick? Or should just change her name to Sarah. So Sarah is our operations person. Operations person. She's our. I was like swallowing whilst talking. It's like the beginning of a ventriloquism. So Sarah is our operations person. She's also our support person. She does a lot of stuff. She's like the woman that wears many hats. So if you have any technical questions, yeah, any technical questions as we go through today about finding a link, where is this, getting support, Sarah's a great person to ask. Oh, and Sarah just told me I made Sophie co-host instead of her. Cool. Let me see. Sorry, Sophie.
Sophie, you can just handle everyone's
Yeah,
things from now
we're
on.
gonna train you on the fly, Sophie. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let me get rid of that. Sorry about that. So if you have any questions, you can tag Sarah or you can privately message her for anything that you need. We're of course here to support you with any of the questions about what these programs are about. What the hell are you doing here? How did you find us? And like, why are these two guys talking about the things that we're talking about? But look, these calls have a few intentions. Honestly, the main intention is just for connection as a community, because for a lot of you guys, you're here for a bit, and some of you guys are brand new, and you're still trying to feel into what this is, what this education is, what is it that we provide here, and what's the structure of this community. Maybe you're looking for a little bit of guidance on where to get started or how to best use what we teach here is, but like in short, just to know about the two of us, and maybe Elon, you can chime in on this as well. We've been doing this work for 23 years. We've been coaching people in all sorts of things from mindset, marketing, business, sales, and more readily in the healing arts for that period for about like, I don't know, bro, how long? 20 years of those 23 years? A long time. So between the two of us, about 40 years of combined coaching experience. We've worked with tens of thousands of people, different organizations all over the planet. And, you don't do this crazy stuff because you have to. You do this crazy stuff because it's just in your heart's purpose to do so. And so, what we share here is not to put ourselves, or for you guys to perceive that Elon and I are on any particular pedestal, because that would be so stupid for you to do. It's really to show the human experience in the most vulnerable way that we possibly can, and let you guys know that we are in the work as much as anybody else at all given time, regardless of how much time we've been doing the work, how much mastery we've quote cultivated or ascertained in that period of time. We're just two humans, two husbands and two fathers who deeply care about the quality of life, the quality of relationships between people. And we really want to leave, like many of you guys, a legacy behind that makes it for the next generation to live a more spiritually fulfilled life, to have things be more easeful, to have more peace on our planet, right? And that's really at the core of everything that we do here. And that's like the core of all our teachings. And so we're constantly playing with what this Tuesday call gets to be. We have a deep desire to even bring out more of people who've been in this work for a long time to share with you guys. Maybe we'll do that today if someone wants to volunteer and just like share their experiences. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares what Elon and I have to say. There's like truly, they want to hear, like what are people getting from doing this work? And I just want to kind of like plant the seed for you is like really anything is possible from the participation in this work. Like things that a lot of you guys threw away a long, long time ago, and you're like, that's just not possible for me,
Yeah.
or I'm not that type of person. Or like how many of you guys have maybe those kind of conversations? Just kind of show of hands. You think something's not really possible for you. Here's the bottom line, like whatever not that you've created but was created in the environment that you were in that gave you the programming that you're living inside of, the patterns that you feel stuck in. Like here's the bottom line, and I'm using like modern words, like modern nomenclature to describe this. It's like trauma is the way that human beings defend themselves when they're not feeling safe. Do you guys know what I mean by that if I say this? Okay. So like what people think of as identity and personality and ego and stuff like that, that feels so solid, so static, it is really just a response that we have when something doesn't feel safe. That lack of safety wasn't something that you chose into. It was an environment that you were trying to cohere in, that you got born into, right? And we could say on the spiritual level, like your soul chose that path, right? But from like the human perspective, it's like we don't like, well, I don't remember the part where my soul chose this path. This is painful and this is hard. And a lot of us just want out of that. But like the way that this mechanism works, and I'm not just talking about like spiritual or spiritual science here. I'm talking about this is backed up by neuroscience. This is backed up by quantum physics. The way the mechanism works is it will keep bringing you that experience over and over again. And the way that we misinterpret it is that this is something here to hurt me. Why is this continuously here hurting me? And the reality is the system is built here to give you an opportunity to be present with it over and over and over and over again, so that it can be healed. Okay. If you kind of like zoom out a little bit and you consider the nature of things, and I mean, talking like the nature of nature or the nature of the universe, would you guys agree that everywhere we look, we can see that there is a kind of balance, like a balancing system that's built in, right? Like nature falls into this beautiful balance. Wherever there's like prey, there's like a predator making sure, right, that that animal doesn't grow too much. Gravity and all these different forces that we can see all over the universe. And so there's this kind of cohering energy, and we might call that God, we might call that spirit that creates all this balance, right? We can see when we cut our finger or we get hurt in some way, there is some intelligence that brings it back to its original state, right? You cut a finger, you don't sit there and tell it how to, put the cells like, all right, cell L315, go over here. You don't do that. You just trust that there is this intelligence that knows how the finger is supposed to be put back together, right? And so it does, and we can witness it. So the question I always have for people in our community is when it comes to your emotional state or the way that you identify with yourself and you're in these difficult and painful patterns potentially, how come that hasn't returned to a state of balance? Like really sit with that for a moment. Why do we feel so stuck? Why does energy, which is so dynamic, sometimes in our lives feel so static? And then we can start be feeling after a long time this going on, we could be like, well, that's an immovable object. That's going to go on forever. I'm always going to feel this way. I'm always going to have these experiences. How many of you guys can just relate to this in some way, shape, or form? Yeah. And so just hold up your hand for a second with that for those of you guys who can relate to this. And the hands are always up because I want you to see that you're not alone. You're not broken, you're not fucked up, you're not messed up, you didn't do something along the way. Like children are born innocent. Whatever happened to you in that home wasn't because you were like, it'd be really cool if like I got this trauma thing. You didn't do that, right? It was a function of something. You didn't choose in. It was perpetrated around you and to you. Now, when as an adult, the difference is, so that happens, right? So what most people on the planet do is they become victims of those circumstances. They become victim of those surroundings, and they feel like they're not empowered to change that. And that's fine. Like, look, for that person, that's true, right? But the core principle of what all spiritual practice begins with is like, okay, if I would take, or I would even consider taking a responsibility for that, that's the opening to changing your whole life. Is seeing yourself that you are this, okay, yes, this thing happened, and the child didn't ask for that, and even though they didn't make that happen, you can say, well, I'm going to be responsible for that. I'm going to change something about that. Okay. How many of you guys know what I mean by that when I say like just means like putting yourself at the source of what's going on? It doesn't mean that you're to blame for what happened. Okay. And there's a really, 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 really messed up thing that we've done in society, which is we've collapsed responsibility with blame, which is why often people don't want to take responsibility for things because they're like, why do I want to be the one that's at fault? I didn't make mom or dad do that to me. I didn't make, the political environment do that to me. I didn't make the economy do that to me. Okay, great. And for people, and again, for if that's your perspective on life, you're absolutely right. And you will go for the wild swings with every political change, every economic change, every law that comes out, every social change, right? Like this is the nature of things. Things change, things evolve, the systems get more complex. The people who are unwilling to evolve with it are the people that suffer because they want it to be some old way, some old nostalgic way that they think about things. But like, I mean, I don't know if you guys have picked up a history book in the last few years or in your lifetime. Like things have not stayed the same ever in humanity, right? Empires will fall. Economic systems will change. Having said that, there is like a North Star, like a compass that we all point to. And in the spiritual sense, you could say, I point towards the light. Yes? We point towards truth. That's what everything does. You can pave over a garden, eventually the pavement will crack, and guess what? The flowers will make their way through that crack and point where? Towards the sun. So that's kind of where we're at, right? And the work that we do here, how many of you guys have done a lot of personal development work? Just show of hands. Cool. So I'm going to venture to say that you perceive yourself as a highly aware human being. Is that true? Just again, show of hands. And it's okay. Like I want you to feel good about the work that you've done. Because sometimes we'll like be like, I want to humbly say I've done a lot of work. Right? But like it's okay to feel healthy admiration for yourself. Can you guys feel the difference between like an egoic admiration and like a healthy admiration? But what we've been taught is don't admire yourself at all. Be humble. It's cool to be humble. I'm not saying that to have reverence and humbleness for that, but it's like if you've done a fuck ton of work, like appreciate yourself for the work that you've done. And it doesn't have to go into an egoic place, but at least let yourself feel what it's like to appreciate yourself. Appreciate the work that you've done. So I'll say this and then I'll hand it over to Elon. So it's really great that you've done that work, and I really want to admire you for the courage it's taken to look into those deep, dark crevices, because a lot of people don't have the courage to look over there because it's not comfortable to get a mirror back at yourself sometimes and realize actions that you've taken, words that you've said, patterns that you've let live on for a long time, even the way that we sometimes speak or act or feel towards ourselves. Yeah. And Elon and I, like many of you, did that work for a really, really, really long time. We did that for about 15 years. Okay. And I'm not talking like in and out of that work. I mean, like 15 years every day, 15 years every day working with ourselves, 15 years every day working with people. So like really, really intense. We put between the two of us north of $1 million into that education, if that gives you any contemplation about our level of commitment. Okay. And I'm not saying that money to impress you about money spent. I'm telling you about the level of commitment. That's what I really wanted to propose with that. Okay. And like many of you, I'm assuming if you're here, it's because you have also found some level of frustration. Is that true? Because at some point you recognize, shit, I have done so much freaking work, and I'll just tell you how it feels and felt for me is like, and I'm still a scared little boy inside. That hasn't changed. So what I have become is a really good manager. And I became a better steward of my mind. Does that make sense? So I became better at managing myself. I became kinder. But when I really felt into my system, I was like, wow, I still feel like that 5-year-old. Like that really hasn't moved. And so for me, that and Elon too is like kind of a point of frustration. It's like, well, how many times do we need to go back to this old painful memory and reprogram it and look at it in a different way and try to have a different conversation or story about it, where even though I've done that 100, maybe 1,000 times, like it still hasn't changed. And after a while, you're like, it's like exacerbating. Like, I just don't want to do that anymore. And so in that, Elon and I kind of shifted the attention of our work. And I let kind of Elon describe to you what's new and what's different about what we do here. Because, you know, if you're new here and who's like really new here, like you've been here like a week or two, maybe even like under a month, awesome.
Nice.
You're probably still in this question, like, what do these guys do? Why are they, it's different. And we're telling you this is different. Like this is so different. You know, and how many guys who are on video and are like, you know, been with us for a few months, just like you would report, like this is like nothing you've ever done before. Yeah, I see like Mark's hand. See a few hands going up over there. And I'll have Elon describe to you why it's different. And I'll tell you this, like we have worked with, you know, all sorts of coaches. We have worked with people who've meditated 40 or 50 years. And across the board, everybody says this for them, this has been like the missing piece of the puzzle. And here's the crazy part. It's so freaking simple. And in a world of complexity and in a world of Western-minded people who think the answer must be something really complex, the simplicity of it at first will daunt you. You'll be like, nothing this simple could be this potentially powerful. And we want to tell you it fucking is. It just is. Because what Elon's gonna point at is exactly what was missed when you experience trauma. And the way that the nervous system and our human development works is that something got missed, right? Something fell out in that moment. And what our work is about, I mean, we do a lot of stuff here, okay? Like this rabbit hole goes real deep in fun ways, in weird ways, in multi-dimensional ways, because that's what mysticism and energy work gets you to. It gets you to, right, like all this fun stuff and the multi-dimensional nature of our reality. But at its core principle, regardless of how you choose to participate here, and it really is your choice how you get to participate here, the foundations of what we teach is we mimic and recreate the opportunity for your nervous system and your energetic body to get the information that was missed when you were going through your human development. And we're also going through our human development, but we want to complete those cycles that got incomplete, because that's why you're looping. It's trying to get complete. But when you don't know, well, how does that system get complete? How does that part of me finally let go? Because we all know what's spirituality 101. Surrender. Why doesn't that part surrender though? Maybe like you can surrender in this part of your life, but you get to this part of your life and you're like, you know, you're like gasping for air. You're holding on for dear life. You don't know why. It doesn't make logical sense often why we act the way that we act. But to that part of you that's experiencing that trauma, it's the only way it ever learned to respond and react to things. So unless it gets what it needs, it will never stop doing that. So I'll let Elon kind of take it from here and kind of describe a little bit of that for you.
Before I do, two questions. One, did anybody want to jump out and share? I saw a few people like hearted and just gave a thumbs up. Anybody like want to kind of point to anything that they've experienced through this? Any of the participants that have been here for a bit? And if you do, just raise your hand, and I'd love for you guys to share rather than Guy and I talk about it. Yeah, Adrian, please.
Well, just as a quick share of my biggest insight after listening to you guys for 2.5 years almost. Well, actually, I don't say it right. I've been hearing you talk for the first year, and after that, I started listening to what you were actually saying
Mm.
because my ego was translating your words into something that I wanted to hear.
Mhm.
So when I actually started listening, I started to surrender to what is and not what I want things to be. And that made all the change. So the second year completely turned things upside down that I got so much that I got angry sometimes and, wanted to kill you both. And
Yes.
but once I got over that and I really thought, okay, I think something is happening now. I'm actually surrendering to what is and not what I want things to be.
Mm.
And letting go of frustration and anger and regret of things that happened in the past decades, then everything started to unfold. And then I saw me on the inside, almost like walking 2 meters in front of myself, then turning around and turning the camera towards myself. That made all the change for me.
Adrian, and just a follow-up question. Beautiful share, by the way. Amazing. Can you speak a little to the work that you did before? Because I know you were, when we met, it was just like trying to understand, trying to put all these pieces together. I just love, for you to share a little bit of like the shift that you've noticed and maybe like speaking a little bit to the information versus the experience from your
Yeah,
perspective.
I think what I realized is that a lot of things happen because of a certain environment that you're in, the way you are raised, the people that you hang out with when you're young, and especially the work that you choose. I was in an environment that was very, very, very rational. There was no way anybody talked about energy work, all these sort of things that we're doing here. So for me, that was a no-go, sort of, because I
Mhm.
wanted to belong to the group. Because that was a big issue for me when I was very young, that I didn't belong. So that pattern continued and continued over decades. And once I saw you guys speak during a challenge on this online marketing, how do you say that? School, I would almost say,
Yeah.
training. I realized very soon that, of course, you were talking about business things and how you can set things up, but you were also talking about other things that are related to what we're doing here.
Mhm.
And that made me realize that I've been blocking something off that could very much help me in life. And so it did. Once I realized that and once I gave it a chance, and I thought, okay, I'm going to invest in this and I'm going to actually listen to what is going on here. That made all the difference for me.
So good. Yeah, thank you so much for Adrian for sharing. And yeah, by the way, guys, if anybody else feels called, I just realized like I was saying this to the coaches the other earlier today. I was saying, when Guy and I sit here and share and speak, um, it's like obviously it's our company, it's our educational platform, et cetera. It's like what else are we going to say? But hearing it from other people who have gone through it, you guys, those are new. You're obviously going to hear it very differently. And second is a lot of times I notice people relate to us in a certain way. And again, Guy and I, like you talk to anybody that's been around us for a long time, like we are accessible. We don't put ourselves on a pedestal. We will continuously remind you to take us off the pedestal and continuously remind you that we are humans, just like Guy started the conversation, very much going through our own stuff. Like really, we are far from perfect. Far from perfect. What we have and what we want to give to you and humanity as a whole is teachings that have literally been withheld from humanity for thousands of years. And they've been locked away in the Himalayas and the caves and all these things. And today, honestly, thank God I know like we shit on technology all the time, but I'm telling you right now, like there's no way that Guy and I would have had access to sit with a Rinpoche who meditates in a cave for 40 days and nights. Like if there wasn't something like Zoom, like it wouldn't have been possible unless I was willing to go and trek up there. So I always say like this stuff that has been hidden from us from a long time has always been here. It has just been hidden in these places that most people had to travel like unimaginable like distances. Think about people that sat with Jesus or Buddha or like these master teachers. There were, but like what percentage? And now we live in a world where I don't know about you, like, but I have two kids, 13 and 12 years old. I've been married. This year will be 17 years. We run a business. I've been running a business as an entrepreneur since 2004. Like, it's a lot. And are there parts of me that are like, yeah, I would love to sit in a cave. Yeah, I would. You know why? Because it's silent and no one bothers you and it's fucking easy. But like, that's not the world that most of us are living in. And so for me, it's always been, okay, how do I, yeah, how do I bring that level of awareness, attunement, meditative states of inner peace, well-being, and safety into my everyday as lived life? How many of you guys have a meditation practice? Okay. Most of you, probably like me, you feel amazing when you sit sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when you sit for meditation, you get into these like amazing blissful states, right? Then you get off your couch or cushion or whatever it is, and you go into life and something happens. And what happens to that meditative state that you've cultivated and felt so good about? How quickly does that shit go out the window? Right? Am I right? And then you're like, wow. And so for me, I had by the way, same frustration. And you probably heard this line. I used to use it all the time. It's like meditation is not about the 20, 30 minutes that you're on the cushion. It's about the 23 and a half hours after and like what happens during. And I was like, okay, but why do I feel so good when I'm here? And then I come out to the world and someone does something and it all goes out the window. Like that doesn't seem logical. And so the game really became how to bring these states into your everyday as lived life. I don't care. And I'm saying this with all the love in my heart. I don't care how good you feel when you are meditating with your eyes closed and no one's around. I honestly don't give a shit. If you're not able to bring that level of safety, well-being, awareness to your interactions with your kids or your spouse or your friends or loved ones or your clients or the people that you interact with in life, then what the hell is the point? You know why it's easy in the Himalayas in a cave? Because everyone's on the same wavelength. No one's talking. Everyone's eating the same food. Everyone's dressed the same. There's no technology and kids and work and boss. There's none of that. Like if I removed all that stuff from you, you would imagine it'd be a lot easier to stay in that state, right? Well, guess what? This lifetime, your soul in this human body, in this skin suit, did not choose that path. I'm sure we have all lived and chosen that path before, but not this time. Because this time, if you're here, my guess is your soul came here to bring that level of attunement and compassion and love and wisdom and inner peace into this world. And that is why we are here. And if you found yourself here, I guarantee that there's a part of you that wants that too. Am I wrong? Does that resonate? You guys feel that too? Like you came here to do something, to leave this world better than when you first entered it. Yes? You guys agree with that? Look around. I'm telling you, I know this. Why? Because we've been doing this long enough. I know who this bubble that Satori Prime became. Like, I just know who it attracts. And then there's some people that, you know, like what calls to you is like, hey, I just want to kind of like play here and do my own thing. Great. Like, there's a pathway for you for that. There's others here that you came and you have a very loud voice and very loud pull within you to bring something through. Your gift, your song, your magic into this world.
Yeah. Who's got, just a show of hands? I saw a few of you raising up. Who's feeling that in your life?
Look, just look around. Keep them up for a second. I want you to look around. You are not alone. And for a long time, it could be many even lifetimes, we have stayed in the shadows because it hasn't felt safe to be seen. It hasn't felt safe to let our light shine. Look around what is happening on this planet. Wherever you are on this planet, there's shit happening right now. You guys get that? We need that light. We need you. We need your gift. We need your magic more than ever. And you sitting on the sidelines, keeping it small, is selfish and is a disservice to humanity, not just to yourself. This is a home for people who are at the fringe, who are at the edge, where we get to come together and play. Play. Not because it's significant or important. Play. Your soul came here to have an experience. Play. How many of you guys have kids? Okay. If your kids watched you and experienced you as someone who is stable, who has well-being, who is grounded, who has safety, who is living their purpose and shining their magic onto the world, would you feel accomplished as a parent? Heck yeah. Because you know this as a parent. You can tell them till you're blue in the face. It's this, it's that, it's this, is that. Do they really listen? No. But do they watch incredibly close at how you treat yourself? About how you treat your spouse? About whether you exercise or how you eat? Or how you treat others? Or how you are in stressful situations? Or how you are around money? Or how you are around overwhelm? Where do you think that we've learned more? Through mom and dad telling us or us experiencing that? Right? And to bring this full circle, guy was like, what is it that we do differently? We bring it back to the most basic thing, which is the way that we all learned as human beings. The biggest lessons that have impacted you the most have nothing to do with what you read in a book or what you heard on a podcast or anything that even had words involved or associated with it. The biggest lessons we've all received were when mom and dad were either there, attuned, or unattuned to us. And I would venture to say that most of us with parents that did the best they absolutely could, they were not attuned. Would you guys agree? Like, and I'm telling you, like, Guy and I grew up in a home. Our parents are still married, still very much in love, loved us, protected us, supported us. They're unbelievable parents. And they were also immigrants in this country. They moved here when they were 28 years old. They had a almost 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. No language, no idea what they're going to do, working 3-4 jobs to try to make some sort of ends meet. What time do they have for two little beings, right? Like, they're trying to like keep us alive, keep a roof and food, like a roof over our head and food, right? They did the best they could, but there was a lot of misattunements, which took Guy and I a long time to realize. So the most impactful way that we learn from the age of in utero till you die is not through words or language or understanding. It's through transmission of the nervous system. And if we don't learn to give that to ourselves first, the little ones have no shot. And so the work that we do here, here's the beauty. There are people here on this call from their 20s to their 70s. It doesn't matter what trauma you had. It doesn't matter how bad you think it was. It doesn't matter how long you've been working on it. None of that matters. Everything. The nervous system, we talk about like brain neuroplasticity. You guys know that phrasing? There should be a new phrase. Maybe we get to invent it for like the nervous system plasticity, because it is amazing what can be healed. It doesn't matter what got trapped in there. Through this process of awareness, different meditation practices, sitting in group fields together, sitting with practitioners, like people who have done this work that can give you these new templates, anything and everything can be moved and healed. It doesn't matter where you're starting. The only difference between you, like me and Guy, and you, is time and consistency of practice. That's it. That's it. Like, this is not to brag or anything like that, but like Guy and I are in very, very good physical shape too, right? We eat well, we exercise. Like, I've had 6-pack abs since I was like, 15 years old. Like, it's not a thing. But that's because I've been consistent about it. If someone shows up and they're like 100 pounds overweight and they're like, I want 6-pack abs, guess what? Is there anything that I can give them that's going to fix that for them in 2 weeks or a month or even a year? No. But if you give me a long enough timeline and we shift your lifestyle, it's a guarantee. It's not a secret. How to do that? This is the same thing. It's not a secret. It's not magic. It's not complicated. All it's going to take from you is saying yes to yourself in a way that you've probably never said yes to yourself before, and being willing to do the practices and go to places that you've been afraid to go before because you've tried to do them on your own. Are you feeling inspired by these podcasts? Is this approach striking a chord with you? Imagine taking this journey even further with personal coaching from Guy and I, right from your own home on Zoom. Join us at our next live event. They happen quarterly. It's an accessible, cost-effective way to dive deep into these transformative practices, not just theoretically, but experientially. Attendees often share that they've experienced unprecedented levels of peace, support, forgiveness, and awareness. Remember, healing isn't just a mental exercise. It must be felt and released through the body. So here's a special gift just for you, our valued listener. Visit intuitivemind.live and use the coupon code OLDSOUL to receive 25% off your ticket. The Intuitive Mind event is unlike any other. So impactful that many participants return multiple times, some as many as 10, 12, even 15 times. Plus, once you register, we'll immediately send you a recording of a previous event so that you can start practicing right away. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to intuitivemind.live, secure your spot for our next live event using the coupon code OLDSOUL, and start your transformative journey today. Now, back to the show. How many of you are like I go in my room and I will figure it out and I will keep reading and I will keep watching and I will blah, 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 right? By the way, I'm speaking from experience.
Takes one to know one.
Yeah, absolutely. Did it all. By the way, that's why Guy and I probably spent so much money and so much time, because we kept going down this road that hopefully we can shorten for you guys. But if you've been on it long enough, you know, like it kind of leads in circles. You find the next teacher, like, yeah, I figured it out. Only to like 3 months later, be like, nah, it doesn't really work anymore. What's the next thing? And the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. You don't have to do that. It's very simple. How do your kids learn the most? Through being held, through co-regulation, through being attuned to. Guess what? That doesn't go away. That's the way that you learn. And if you're not trying to learn that way, then you're just wasting time. I honestly, like, I wish it was different, but the good news is if you're bumping up against those walls now, you should get really excited. It took Guy and I 15 years of bumping up against those walls to realize we're not willing to do this for the next 30, 40, 50, 70 years of our lives. And that's when everything shifted. Different teachers, teachings, experiences, everything opened up for us. And then what we had to battle was what Guy shared before, is the simplicity. And the mind arguing with the simplicity. Because someone's like, oh, sit in presence for 10 minutes. Sit in group. Sit with a person in silence and just receive. And your mind's like, no, there's got to be something more. Like, I've tried all these incredible things. Like, it can't be this simple. It just can't. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, but I feel like really different, and it's lasting and it's shifting and it's changing. And then eventually you just, that part of you buys in, and then life becomes really fun.
And I want to say that's really what the coaching is for, because inevitably, like, it's not like you and I have figured it out and now we don't have coaches around us. It's the exact opposite now in our lives. We went from doing everything on our own to being like, we're not going to do anything on our own.
Yep.
One of the main things we talk about is how do you build the support network and system around you so that you never have to do this alone. Doesn't matter how aware you become or how much healing you get done. Do you guys get, like, when we're healing and growing, what are we doing? We're expanding vertically, and we're expanding horizontally, right? And what we're saying is, I have this amount of capacity to be with what's arising in my life. But then something happens that arises in your life that, guess what? You do not have the capacity to be with. If it doesn't feel safe enough to be with it. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's the limbic or whatever, and the animal part of the brain gets kicked in, and you go from being an aware person that's highly responsive to a completely unaware person that's highly reactive. Even after 23 years of work, when I get really triggered, guess what happens? All this good, juicy stuff falls right out of my head, and I forget all about everything I've ever done, and I'm just right back into a scared child again, right? And it doesn't matter how much work I do. There's two options here. Either I enlighten, like I become fully enlightened, free of ego and self-identification, or I die. Those are my two options right now. Right? That's the only way to get rid of this ego thing. So what do we all need? We need the people around us to give us the reminder when we're in that place. When I get into that state, how do I find stability again? How do I get resourced again? And how do I learn to let that energy metabolize through my system? Because that's what healing actually is. It's a metabolic, energetic experience. This should not be a breakthrough thought, but it is currently, because guess what? When you put energy in food, right? Sunlight, food, basically into your mouth, what does your system do? It metabolizes it. Does sun have an impact on you when you step outside? Does it energize the body in some particular way? Of course it does. But everything is energy. And if we don't, if in medical science, in the healing arts and psychology and neuroscience, if we don't have the most fundamental thought here is like, holy shit, there's energy involved in this process, then we have missed the boat, because everything in science, quantum physics, and everything else points at what's the fundamental nature of reality? It's energy. So it used to be really woo-woo to talk about energy. Now we talk about it, the Western mind is so funny. We find cool ways to talk about it. Oh, it's your nervous system. That's fine. Currently, that's how we talk about it, but like, okay, at the end of the day, it's still energy that we're talking about. And this is why your friends who do therapy for 15 or 20 years never get anywhere with it, because guess what they don't talk about when they talk about psychology? They don't talk about energy. And Elon is pointing at it, but what we're good at, in my opinion, is we have basically so we got to learn from those Rinpoches and those teachers that have those healing arts in those caves, okay? And those ancient wisdom practices, again, we've known this forever, right? We're now weaving it with neuroscience. We're now weaving it with psychological processes. And what Elon and I are good at is taking the esoteric and making it really pragmatic. Or said another way, taking the unseen and making it really practical. Because just because you can't see it, you still feel it. I can't see love, but I can feel it. I can't see heat, but I can feel it. So the training is training you to feel energy at really, really subtle levels. Why subtle levels? Because that's where everything arises from. Before that anger came, before that fear came, before everything came, there's a subtle tug in the nervous system that one can feel very easily once you start paying attention to it. And if you want to know why your mind is doing what your mind is doing, it's not because your mind is some way. And that's, again, what we're like, to say that we're just this mind. Okay, well, then again, you're saying, well, what's going on with the rest of the nervous system that the mind is hooked up into? Why is the mind having that reaction in the first place? Well, because something in the body doesn't feel safe. Okay, well, how do I feel that something in the body that doesn't feel safe? Now you're asking the right question. Because if you want the programming of the mind to stop, or you want the mind to quiet down, guess what? It's not about convincing the mind, managing the mind, or learning more coping systems, which is pretty much what every book and every training is about. And how's that going? Like, with a lot of accountability, can you change habit? Kinda, but like it kind of kicks in at some point, right? Like, no matter how much accountability and structure you put around it. Like, Elon and I have a lot of willpower. A ton. Like, we just, that was our survival response to having two immigrant parents who were never around. Got to figure this shit out. What comes online? Willpower. Some children have it, some children don't. Doesn't make one better than the other. But like, willpower can do a lot, right? In terms of trying to rehabituate something. Sometimes not in the best ways, by the way. But like, when we started recognizing, oh, it's not the mind that's reactive, is the mind simply reacting to what's going on that doesn't feel safe in the system? How do I cultivate safety then? That should be really the number one question everyone's asking. Because you can have a roof over your head, you can have 3 square meals a day or whatever it is, but you can still not feel safe inside your body temple. And as far as we can tell from the thousands of people we worked with, nobody feels safe. Yeah. I've yet to meet a safe and grounded human being yet. Not one. I certainly don't. So then you want to ask yourself, okay, we're not worried about, we're worried about our physical safety, but once that's there, now you get to ask the deeper question. We're living in unprecedented times for a variety of reasons. And one of those reasons is, look, for a lot of us, I'm not saying all of us, because it's not a given on our planet. A lot of us have been given the space and time that we do have meals and we do have a roof over our head, and we've not had to worry about where's my next meal coming from. And that has given us the space to do what? Be introspective. Become philosophical. Ask the deeper spiritual questions that a person who is constantly in survival does not get to ask. It's a privilege. It's a privilege. It's why spirituality is rising on our planet, because a lot of us have come out of the need to survive every day, right? But then there's the deeper truth. Okay, great, I have all that, still don't feel safe. Well, what's going on? And so here's what I want to say. There's no amount of money that will buy safety. In the same token, that there's no amount of money that will buy you love. You could be the wealthiest person on the planet, have the worst relationships. Okay, you're a billionaire. You can't buy love. You can't do it. There's no transaction for love. I mean, there's transactions for love, if you know what I mean, but not those kind of transactions, right? So you want to stop thinking of this like we talk about raising children. It's not a great word. We raise cattle. We don't raise children. We cultivate children. Different. Do you guys feel how that feels different? Just so what does it mean? Not to buy safety, because that's what all consumerism is to try to buy some kind of experience. When you go on vacation or you buy that car or whatever it is, right? What do you actually care about? How it makes me feel here? Even though it's this external thing. So what we really care about selfishly, rightfully so, is how does it feel inside of here? What's my inner experience? And everything else that we've ever done projects you outside. Go change that conversation in that relationship over there. Change the story out there. Da 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 da, right? Like nothing points inside. People travel all over the world, go, I gotta go find myself. Well, where the fuck are you going? Where are you? Did you leave yourself in Spain? You know, is there some, and I'm not saying that like traveling is amazing. I was just in Oaxaca, Mexico with my kids and my wife for a wedding. Love traveling. It's the best thing ever for experiences though. But like I say this all the time, but the most selfless thing you can do is be insatiably selfish about your personal healing. Because if you're selfish about your healing, the impact of your presence and everybody else around you will completely alter your in their life. How many of you guys have been in our work for a while? Like just your presence is now transforming the relationships in your life. Not conversations, presence, right? Completely altered. Because we have this thing called power over, power under in our relationships. It's a power dynamic, like polarities, right? Positive and negative. It's a balancing force, which is why when one person is a perpetrator, another person is stuck in the victim role. Or when someone's a victim, the other person becomes a perpetrator. Balancing forces. Just how everything works. So what happens if the victim wants to not be perpetrating anymore, they got to come out of it, find balance. What happens to the perpetrator? They stop perpetrating. Happens all the time. It's like the most magical thing. And some of you guys don't believe us. You're like, no, they'll never stop doing that shit to me. They do. They really do. We love telling people, don't go have a conversation. Don't even tell them what you're doing. Because when you start getting into that healing mode, it's like when the energy changes, the relationship changes. It's the underpinnings of everything. We just hear the most magical stories from people all the time. And while it's amazing, like I'm always amazed and blown away, and I'm not surprised. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. You know, from that perspective. So here's what you want to ask yourself right now. Like if you've just got here, like I'm gonna tell you right away. You want to do the nervous system reset protocol. Okay. That training is very short. It's about 90 minutes long. That is the foundation of everything we teach here. You know, whether you're a person who just does our $37 program or you're a client who pays us $100,000 a year, everyone is doing that practice. So even if all you're ever going to do with us is do a $37 training, teach yourself the thing that we're teaching our $100,000 clients to do, because it's the exact same thing. And if that's all you ever do here, God bless you, and you know, be on your way, enjoy your journey. Okay. Once you've gotten that work and you understand how that works, the obvious thing is going to be to do this with people.
Yes.
Okay. It would be, I'm telling you right now, silly on your part. I want to use a stronger word like stupid, but let's just say silly on your part to go try to do this with mom and dad or a spouse or a sibling or a friend who's not trained to do this. You can try, but it's not going to have the same impact and you're probably going to be left in disappointment. I like to do work with people who are committed to doing work. Elon plays tennis. Trust me, he doesn't go outside and play tennis with a 5-year-old who's just picking up a racket for the first time, you know, because like he's not going to enjoy the game. He wants to play with somebody who is at his level of commitment in tennis. Then it's competitive, it's fun, he gets to learn, they both grow, yada, 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 right? And Harmel, if you're asking NSRP, if you're here, 99.9% chance it's sitting in your members area. You need to just log in there and do it. Okay, unless someone invited you here, Harmel, as a friend or a family. And I'll get back to that in just a second. So do NSRP. The next thing will be to do it in groups. To be part of the group, the way that we give you access to that is we have a members area in your back office. By the way, there's both an Android and iOS app for our community now. You can go into the Play Store or App Store, type in Satori Prime and find it. That'll give you easier access to all the member groups and stuff like that, but it's all available on your mobile devices and all the other places, and desktop and all the other stuff. But that's a recent offering just to make things easier. We have a group and we also have a WhatsApp group. And the WhatsApp group is really where the power is, because then you could be like, I want to sit with somebody. Boom. We have people all over the world. There are hundreds of people in there, soon to be thousands of people in there across every time zone you can imagine on the world. So when you're like, hey, I'm in this, I want to sit with somebody, guess what? We got you covered. You don't got to go create a network of people who do this work. We're doing that for you. That's a huge part of why we've developed this community the way that we have. For all the reasons we said, we didn't have that level of support. We had to go create those communities and people to practice with, and we don't want you to have to go, do all that. Work with people who are at your level or above and who are committed to doing work the way that you are. You're going to see it will change everything for you. It's like when you have a breakthrough, don't go share it with somebody who can't receive you. Do you guys ever have a breakthrough and then you tell somebody something and you're like, your heart's broken because they don't get it? It's painful. So it tells you two things when that happens. Number one, that person is not a great ear for you and they're not a good reflection for you. And number two, you haven't embodied it yet. Because when something is embodied, it's irrelevant. Who knows? Or whether you get received. At that point, you already know yourself as that way. But when we share a breakthrough with somebody, what we're looking for is reflection, right? Because when we're still working on something, we need that reflection over and over and over again. Why? So we can embody it. So we can see ourselves that way, right? We want a clear mirror. So again, why work with people who are committed? You're going to get a clearer mirror. If you go share with somebody who you already have trauma with, like a parent, for example, and you're trying to get some clarity over there, and that pattern gets re-triggered, trust me, that breakthrough is not going to keep. In fact, you're gonna think to yourself, shit, I guess they don't see me that way. Probably didn't have that breakthrough, which is probably not what actually happened there. Right? So that would be the next step. And if you haven't joined that group, we make it very easy. So here's what you want to ask yourself. You want to ask yourself a question. Am I a toe dipper? Like, am I just like here to just kind of dip my toes in the water and see if the water's warm? Or am I like Alice in Wonderland and I want to see how deep this rabbit hole goes? Okay. And it's okay, whatever end of the spectrum that you're on. And I don't mean to make you feel bad about it. I just want you to be honest about your own level of commitment to work, to healing, to transformation. It's totally fine wherever you are, and it can change. And Ray, I'm not gonna have you guys raise your hands, but why don't you, on like a level of 1 to 10, 1 being like, I just want to feel if the water is warm, toe in the water, and 10 is like, I'm good to go, like I'm on this healing journey, whatever it takes. Just kind of think to yourself where you are, and if you want to offer it in the chat box, you can. Like I'm a 1 or 1 to 10. Where are you on that plane? Cool. And again, if you want to keep it to yourself, because whatever it makes you feel funny inside, that's totally cool. So why do I ask that? Because it just, whether you take my recommendation right now, or whether you want to talk to someone on our team about guidance on where to go next, either one of those is fine, but it helps us navigate what to recommend for you. Okay. So we have a beyond the digital programs and stuff that you guys can do on your own and the group work and the sits and stuff like that. We have an entire curriculum, okay, that goes as long as 16 months with us. Okay. So just so you guys understand, we break that down into 3 different levels. I'm not going to go into everything now. I am going to give you a link though, where you can check that out and where I describe the work that's done at every single level on a little whiteboard. And I literally explain how it works. Okay. But understanding how it works will not make it work. just going to put that out there. Okay. Insights is not what this work is about. This work is a direct felt experience in subtle qualities that most human beings don't even know are there. It's like smelling a smell you've never smelled before, or having a feeling you've never felt before. Your system has every capacity to feel and smell and do all these things, and that's what we're here to help you learn how to do, is how to navigate this very subtle dimension of human consciousness. And when you will do that, you will learn completely how to operate outside of your conditioning. Okay? So if you're a toe dipper, that's totally cool. Level 1 is for you. We made this really, really simple. Okay. Level 1 is $97 a month. That program used to be $3 grand a year, by the way, just so you know. We've completely changed it because we want to make it as accessible to as many people as possible. It comes with 2 live calls every single week. It's an advanced curriculum. Oh, and it comes with balloons, apparently. It comes with 7 advanced modules and mindset and healing work. There's 4 recorded trainings back there where you can see us working with people. It's fucking awesome. Okay. We even launched a little AI coach called Primus inside of it, which has all of our teachings and training inside of it. So even when no one's around, you have a little AI bot that you can talk to. He's a genius, if I do say so myself. He, not I, Primus is a genius. And a whole bunch of other bonus work and stuff like that. That's monthly. It's no contract. Do with it as you will, come and go. But our intention is that you stay, that it just becomes part of your, healing life. And it does come with a complimentary ticket to our next live event, which is coming up here in like barely 3 weeks. So we do a 2-day intensive every 3 months. Okay. And then just to kind of, for those of you guys who need to go, the link for that is satoriprime.com. I'll put it in the chat. Programs. I hope I got that right. Someone click on that and let me know if that's taking you to a page with a video of me. And so like I said, on top, you're going to see a video, and there's a video of me describing kind of in a whiteboard how our levels work, what the intention is, and literally exactly how the training process and healing process works at every level. Okay. The reason I'm only going to share with level 1 is because level 1 is the only program that we have in our Awareness Effect Academy that you can enroll yourself in. Okay. So you'll see a button down there. You can register, you'll get instant access to it. And there's a training every Tuesday and Thursday every week. We recommend being at least on one training, like one coaching session a week. Okay. And again, it'll give you access to all the other stuff here. Level 2 and level 3, level 2 is a 4-month experience. Level 3 is another 12 months on top of that. So people kind of choose, whether they just want to do the first experience or whether they want the full bore, and whatever you enroll in. So if you enroll in L2, for example, we'll give you a year of L1 on the house. Okay. If you enroll in L3, we'll also give you L1, a year of it on the house, and L2 is included as well. So you're basically saying, if you're signing up for L3, you're saying, I want to go through the whole ride with you guys. I want to see the whole kit and caboodle, basically. Okay. So just to kind of give you like a little bit of the lay of the land, why things are structured the way that they're structured. L1, we want to make sure your mindset is fucking solid. Okay. Because here's the reality. You can do a lot of healing work, but if your mindset is wobbly, you will recreate the trauma that you're going to do healing work from. It'll just recreate it. So L1, it's more focused on mindset, but we do whispers and start bringing in the energy and healing work, so you get some foundation with that. L2 is a 4-month program, and it's structured to give you a foundation in energetics and how to begin doing really deep work within yourself and in relationship with other people. Okay. And L3, there's no structure. And that is by design. It's a structureless structure. And here's why. Life is not structured. Life, the phenomenology of life is emergent. Do you guys know what I mean by that? It emerges, like your thoughts. They just appear. Like, where do they appear from? I don't know. Where are these circumstances coming from? I don't know. I don't know. But life is, how life gets really high quality? When your capacity to be with what's arising is like, I could just be with anything. I'm no longer worried with what's arising in my life. I know that I can be with it. Not what to do about it, how I can be with it. And that's a very different kind of confidence to walk around with in life. And for those who are working, I see them all like in the work are nodding their heads because they know that that's what they're developing. They're cultivating this capacity to be with what's arising. And what's arising is arising within you. It's these sensations, this experience that you then mistake for external components. So we show you how to be with that inner world so that you can be with anything as it's arising. That doesn't guarantee money. That doesn't guarantee success. That doesn't guarantee loving relationships. It doesn't guarantee all the things that every other coach will guarantee for you and put these large ROIs. Give me $5,000. I promise you I'll make $50,000. Fuck that. We don't guarantee ROIs that way. What we guarantee is the ROI of the experience of being alive. The ROI with us is qualitative. It's not quantitative. It's how you negotiate, it's how you feel about yourself, it's how you're going to feel about your relationships. And that in itself is going to change all those other areas of life. Because guess what? Then the aspect of you that decides to take action won't decide to take action out of fear, out of scarcity, out of overwhelm, all the things that most people operate from. You will learn how to exit that world and operate from safety and well-being and resource and connection. And energy has this beautiful property where energy begets energy. If you operate from scarcity, that action will create more scarcity. If you operate from overwhelm, that action will create more overwhelm. And in same contrast, if you operate from safety and well-being and so on and so forth and stability, guess what? You're going to start having more safety, more well-being in your life. Okay. So if you're interested in L2 and L3, you'll see on that page that I put in there, I can put it again, an explanation for it, but it's going to give you an opportunity to book a call with our team so they can kind of like walk you through that, because it's not just you choosing in to be in that program. We're working with you. You'll be working with Elon and I directly, our coaching community. And like, we want to make sure that you're in a place in your life where it feels good for us to work with you also, which is why we don't let you self-select into L2 and L3. Okay. It's a mutual coherence essentially, right? And the resonance of like, hey, like if you're going to be with us, like we're going to teach you. It should feel good to be with us. There should be resonance, and we should feel good with a client or a student working with us that we're going to invest the next 16 months of our life working with. So that's the precursor over there. So is that clear? Any questions about that at all? So satoriprime.com /programs. Again, you can enroll in L1. And if you're like, hey, I still want to talk about L2, L3, but I want to get cracking on L1, join in. It's easy. Start doing some of the coaching, enjoy the advanced programs, and you'll see all the bonuses and structures and stuff in there. It's awesome. It really is awesome. Okay. And of course, if you have any questions about anything, contact us, contact Sarah, or support at Satori Prime. They're there 5 days a week, happy to respond to you. And if you're like, hey, I just want to talk to someone in the community about their experience, there are so many people here who will be happy to get on a call with you and directly share about how profound this experience has been. And I want to tell you, like, when we talk about you having a transformative experience, we don't think you're going to have one. We know with absolution you're going to have one. There's no other way that this can go. Okay. This is not like a, like if I told you that you had an investment that had a 50-50 shot of making a great return, you'd probably take that investment. Okay. If I told you that this investment has a 99.9% chance of working for you and profoundly transforming your life, it does. I'm not saying this like it would be nice if that happened for you. It's going to happen for you. But like Elon said, people come with different traumas. They're in different places in their lives. How like the timeline for that varies depending on your work, your commitment, and what you're carrying in your system. If you're a deeply traumatized person, you are on a long path to healing. Like 7 to 10 years of committed work is not a joke. But that's maybe what it's going to take for you. So we're not here to bullshit you. We're not here to tell you that this is a hop, skip, and a jump away. And in like 2 months from now, like everything in your life is going to be resolved. It won't be. Are things going to get better quickly? Yeah. Oh, yeah. But here's the really cool part about this work. And then we'll kind of finish it with this, okay? Like when you do mindset work, there's only so much you can understand. And even if you understand, there's only so much you can apply because our mind can't hold 55 concepts at one time. Just can't do it. You know how many distinctions I've learned in my life? They're not all here all the time. There's like one I can focus on at a time, right? If I'm lucky. And so with mindset work, there's this kind of like real exhilarating part where you're learning and you kind of grow and you heal some stuff, and then it kind of like it really plateaus. And then it gets frustrating because all the books start sounding exactly the same. How many of you guys have gotten to that point? So you read the books, it's like same shit, just different distinctions, right? How many more fad books can you read that talk about changing the story or the paradigm, right? Like, okay, thanks, cool. So you call it the 3-step propagation technique or whatever the hell they're calling it today, right? It's the same exact regurgitated stuff for 100 years. With this work, with energy, it's like, think about cultivating something, what that word means. Like if I cultivate safety, is there a cap on how much safety I can cultivate? Never. Well-being, never. It's totally different ballgame. It's a totally different ballgame. There is no end to the depth of transformation. There's no end to the depth of well-being, safety. Year over year, it exponentially grows. So after the first year, you're going to be like, this is unbelievable. But by year 2, you're going to be like, oh my God. And it just keeps going. Like even, we're 9 years into this kind of work. We simply cannot believe our experience. And it's like, and I'm not like, okay, well, I've reached some apex. There's nowhere to reach because there's no beginning and there's no end to this path. There just is the path. So year over year, your capacity to grow within this work is truly unlimited and does not have those kind of diminishing returns that you experience in personal development and well-being. I don't really read developmental books anymore. Not because I have an ego to think that I know everything, but I enjoy sci-fi a lot more than I enjoy dry psychological books, personally. Elon and I have been devouring sci-fi trilogies left, right, and center. 3 Body Problem, mind-blowing. Red Rising, get at me, right? So my point is that when you get into this work, you'll realize that awareness teaches itself. Awareness is self-reflective. That's the quality of it. So once you start playing in those fields, you're going to see that like there's an intelligence that you're carrying around, and it actually starts doing the healing. It starts actually doing the teaching. Elon and I don't do the healing. Awareness does the healing. Intelligence does the healing. We just show you how to put yourself in the environment for your body to go into that state, because that's what our body is designed to do. And that's what this work is all about. Okay? All right, everybody. Thanks for your attention today and your energy. We love you lots. If you need anything, again, email Elon, ILAN, @satoriprime.com. Sorry for Elon Musk ruining his name, but it is what it is at this point in time. It's not spelled the same, so he's free and clear, right? So ILAN @satoriprime.com if you want to talk to him about programs. Sarah or support @satoriprime.com if you want to ask questions, like more technical stuff. And then, on that page is kind of the outlay of how this all works. Okay. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you, dear one, for choosing to share a bit of your day with us. We value you greatly. And as a way to give back and help you to deepen these practices, we want to invite you to join our incredible community on Facebook. You can do so easily by going to joinoldsouls.com and ask for an invite. This is our private community where old souls and seekers are able to grow and share their journey with others. We hold exclusive weekly live streams, we answer your personal questions, and offer valuable insights that we won't be able to share here on the podcast. So again, just head to joinoldsouls.com and grab your invite today. And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, please head to iTunes and leave us a review. It's the only way other people can find this show, so if it's making a difference in your life, please share the love. Until we meet again, have an amazing week, dear one.